October the 30th, 1961. The Soviets are about to test the biggest bomb the world has ever seen. Russia's nuclear scientists worked under constant threat of imprisonment and death. They created the most terrifying weapon in history and were hailed as the saviors of their country. But they paid a huge price for their patriotism. Some lost their lives, others their freedom. Eight hours train ride from Moscow, the track is blocked. Ever since the 1940s, the region beyond has been sealed off from the rest of Russia.
Направо! По! Досмотровой группы к осмотру приступить.
Every single carriage has to be searched. Inside the wire, a city with no name. It appears on no maps. Signs on the boundary warn those who come this far. It's a forbidden zone. Officially, this is Postal District number 16 of the town of Alamos. The residents call it Sarov, the name of the ancient religious site on which it was built half a century ago. 50 years ago, one of those who made the journey here by order of the Soviet authorities was Yuri Trutniev. No one would tell him his destination, but there were rumors.
Мы молодые специалисты, мы не знаем. Я обращаюсь к сидящему рядом человеку. Простите, мы не в Саров летим? Он задрожал, так сказать, и ничего мне не ответил.
Sarov's closely guarded secret, betrayed at peril, was its nuclear weapons labs. Here, under Stalin's orders, scientists were working feverishly to make the Soviet Union a superpower. But scientists like Trutniev willingly submitted to this iron regime of secrecy.
Я не могу отделить свое личное от того, что необходимо было стране. Мы не так были воспитаны. Лично для меня и интересы страны, интересы обороноспособности страны были на первом плане. И не только у меня. Я должен сказать, что все физики, с которыми я работал в институте, я знаю, что это все были патриоты.
The new secret city was Stalin's answer to America's atomic headquarters at Los Alamos in New Mexico. It had risen from nothing in a few years, thanks to slave labor. The slaves were thousands of political prisoners shipped into Alamos 16 from the gulags of the Eastern Urals. The resources of the communist state were being deployed as a matter of urgency. In August 1945, the American atom bomb had devastated Hiroshima. Stalin immediately realized just how vulnerable the Soviets were. His nation's future was at stake. The atom bomb project was top priority. To run it, Stalin appointed Lavrenti Beria, chief of the secret police, the dreaded KGB. One of the most feared men in the country, he'd been in charge of Stalin's purges as millions were killed or sent to labor camps. In 1945, Stalin gave Beria an ultimatum: build an atomic bomb in 5 years, or suffer the consequences.
То, что Сталин во главе советского атомного проекта поставил Берия, это было далеко не случайно. Берия, конечно, личность одиозная, к нему относиться можно по-разному. Но неоспорим тот факт, что Берия был выдающийся организатор.
Beria faced a daunting task. Much of Russia lay in ruins after 4 years of bitter warfare. The country was on its knees. The Americans assumed the Soviets wouldn't be able to find the resources needed for full-scale nuclear research. But they'd underestimated the power of the KGB and of Moscow's command economy.
То, что государство, которое владеет всеми средствами производства, оно может сконцентрировать все усилия, какие нужно для того, чтобы добиться прорыва на каком-то узком участке.
Beria at once ordered the respected physicist Igor Kurchatov to gather together the best brains in the country and build the Soviet Union's first atomic bomb. Beria now had the money and the scientists he wanted. But to meet Stalin's 5-year deadline, he also needed the services of someone working at the heart of the Western nuclear project. His name was Klaus Fuchs. A brilliant German physicist, Fuchs had fled the Nazis and settled in Britain. During the war, he'd been sent to Los Alamos to help build America's atom bomb. Unknown to his superiors, Fuchs was also an ardent communist who'd fed secrets to the KGB while in America. Returning to Britain after the war, Fuchs began work on the atomic project at Harwell. Alexander Feklisov, a top KGB agent, was dispatched to London to act as Fuchs's key contact. Fuchs would hand him British and American atomic secrets to be relayed back to the Soviet Union.
I understood that the task of working with Fuchs was more complicated with any agent I worked before, more important, and I took it to my heart. I was preparing to each meeting very meticulously.
To avoid detection, the pair would meet at predetermined locations around London. Feklisov was given strict instructions by his superiors.
You take care that when you're going to meet him, you be absolutely sure that you are not followed by the British counterintelligence. And not only you, but you have to see that when Klaus Fuchs came, that he didn't bring a tail with him. He said, I am in a position to know everything what is done in Harwell, and I participate in our discussions, not only in Harwell level, but on the government level.
Only one Soviet scientist was allowed to read the intelligence reports from Fuchs and Beria's other spies. At a house outside Moscow, Igor Kurchatov would pore over the stolen documents. Klaus Fuchs passed on a stream of detailed calculations, designs and diagrams which enabled Russian scientists to forge ahead with their nuclear program. Kurchatov would review the documents and issue instructions to his scientists. If they hit a problem, he immediately referred it to Beria's KGB network, leading back to Klaus Fuchs at Harwell. One of the greatest obstacles was how to transform uranium into the plutonium